in order to send characters to the display, we have to change from command mode to character mode. Do you remember how to do that? With the RS line. We changed the RS line to high. The RS line in our circuit is connected to port A, bit 4. So we set that bit high with a bit set file command. We don't actually pulse the E line because the RS line is simply a control line. So it's now set up for character mode, and we'll just leave it like that. We'll now send some data down the data lines, and then we'll pulse the E line to load it all up. We set up the bank for latch C also in preparation for what we're going to do next. All we're doing is exactly the same thing we did with the wires and push button in our manual circuit, only now we're doing it with the microcontroller. So you can probably guess what needs to be done next. We simply send the nibbles for the characters we want displayed, pulsing the E line after each nibble, exactly like we did before. Now, I've commented out the block of instructions, so it's easy to spot. This first block sends a capital A. There's the first nibble, which we send it out on port C. Then we pulse the E line. We load up the second nibble on port C and pulse the E line. Bingo, there's our first character on our display. Now, if you want, you can copy and paste this block of code again, change the nibbles to whatever ASCII character you want, and boom, you're done. You can keep doing this over and over again. And yeah, your code gets really long, really fast, but who cares? So this just takes the sort of brute force method of sending characters to the display. You are just using the microcontroller to do exactly what you were doing with the wires and switches, sending sequences of instructions to get the display to do what you want. So keep all of your instructions above this endless loop. I just have that there so the code doesn't run through the subroutines after it finishes your instructions. Now, once it's finished sending all the characters, it'll just sit there in an endless loop displaying those letters. All right, if you're up for a challenge, you have now seen exactly how to add a message to your display. Send a big message there. When you compile your code and program your PIC, you'll need to disconnect the picket and then power the circuit with your battery. When you remove the picket, you remove the power. So now, when you power it back up, it will run your program. So, your mission, should you choose to accept it, is to send a big message to your display, then change the cursor to the second line and add a message there. Just remember to change the cursor, remember the steps and what you have to do. You have to set the RS line to 0 to tell the LCD display the data coming down the pipes is a command. You have to then issue the address command. Then you put it back into character mode and write the characters to the current cursor location. And don't forget to select your banks before every instruction in your code that affects a port on your PIC.